Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive. Today we're tackling chemical plant control room operator interviews.
Definitely. We've got some great resources from RoleCatcher, the Career Guide, their Interview Guide, and even their AI platform. Should be a fun one.
It is going to be fun
Yeah.
and super helpful. If you're prepping for one of these interviews, get ready for some seriously good tips. This role, it's a big deal. Keeping those plants humming safely. That's the key, right? Safety.
Absolutely. The Career Guide really lays it out. They're like the central nervous system of the whole operation. And with automation on the rise, it's only getting bigger.
Makes sense. More automation, more need for skilled operators to manage it all. So good news for anyone in this field.
Definitely good news. Now the question is, how do you prove you're the right person for the job? That's where the interview comes in. Lucky for us, WorldCatcher has 10 sample questions in their interview guide. They're gold.
10 questions.
All
All right,
right.
let's do this. First one up. What experience do you have in the chemical industry? Seems straightforward, but how do you make it stand out?
Don't just list jobs, tell a story. Highlight those projects where your skills really shone. Maybe you troubleshooted equipment, monitored processes, or implemented safety protocols. Even if it wasn't in a chemical plant, find those transferable skills. Connect the dots for them.
Got it. Paint a picture. Show them you can walk the walk. And hey, RoleCatcher's AI can even analyze your resume, suggest improvements tailored to the specific role. So you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, it's like having a personal editor for your career story. Okay, back to the interview. They might ask, tell me about a time you had to handle an emergency situation. Now is the time to showcase your quick thinking and your commitment to safety, above all else.
Oh, good one. Okay, what about this? What are some of the primary duties of a chemical plant control room operator? It's in the job title, but what are they really getting at here?
It's about showing deep understanding, not just reciting a job description. Think about the core responsibilities. Monitoring equipment, making those process adjustments, responding to alarms and those safety regulations, living and breathing them.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasizes that solid foundation in chemistry and mechanical principles. So weaving that into your answer shows you get the bigger picture.
Exactly. Not just pushing buttons, but understanding the science behind it all. And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice this answer, give feedback, make it even stronger.
Nice. Let's talk safety. Question 3. How do you ensure that all safety protocols are followed in a chemical plant? It's not just about knowing them, it's about making them happen.
This one's all about your mindset. Are you proactive? Can you spot those potential hazards before they become problems? Talk about your experience with safety protocols, how you make sure everyone's trained, your commitment to inspections, and risk assessments.
RoleCatcher's Interview Guide has a sample response that I thought was really good. I believe in fostering a culture of safety. That starts with clear communication, regular training, and leading by example. I would also implement routine checks and encourage open communication so any potential hazards are reported immediately.
Hits the nail on the head. Not just following rules, but building that safety-first environment. They might dig deeper with, tell me about a time you identified a safety hazard and what steps you took to address it. So have a real-world example ready that shows you're on top of things.
All right, let's get a bit more technical. Question 4 is, how do you troubleshoot and resolve equipment malfunctions in a chemical plant?
This is where you shine as a problem solver. Walk them through your process. How do you diagnose the issue? What resources do you use? Who do you collaborate with? Staying calm under pressure is key. They want to see that.
In RoleCatcher's Guide, one candidate mentioned diagnostic tools, manuals, and working with maintenance teams. It's that systematic approach they're looking for.
Yep. And don't be surprised if they hit you with, describe a particularly challenging malfunction and how you resolved it. So have that story ready. Highlight those technical skills and quick thinking.
Control rooms, I bet they can get pretty intense. Which brings us to, how do you prioritize tasks in a fast-paced environment? It's got to be more than just checking things off a list.
Absolutely. This is about stress management and juggling multiple priorities, maybe even during an emergency. Describe your system. Is it a specific method? A mental checklist? Highlight how you assess urgency and delegate tasks.
One candidate's answer in the interview guide stuck with me. They said, I prioritize tasks based on their potential impact on safety and production. I also believe in clear communication with my team to ensure everyone is on the same page and workload is balanced.
That shows they get it. The stakes, the teamwork. They might even ask, tell me about a time you had to juggle multiple critical tasks. How did you approach it? So be ready to walk them through your thought process, how you make decisions under pressure.
We've covered a lot. You ready for the next round of questions?
Bring it on. Let's keep this deep dive going. All right, where were we? Yes, more interview questions. This one's all about the rules. How do you ensure that all plant operations meet regulatory requirements?
The rules and regs. Can't forget those. It's not just keeping things running, it's keeping them running by the book.
Exactly. Show them you know those regulations, that you're committed to compliance. Mention specific regulations you're familiar with, your experience with documentation, those reporting procedures.
RoleCatcher's Guide talks about staying updated on the latest regulations, internal audits, keeping meticulous records. One candidate even mentions software for tracking compliance. Shows they're tech-savvy, detail-oriented.
Those details matter. They might ask, what would you do if you discovered a potential regulatory violation? They want to see you take it seriously, that you'd act responsibly.
Makes sense. Okay, question 7 gets into communication. How do you manage communication with other personnel in a chemical plant? You're the hub, so clear communication is key.
It's a two-way street, talking A&D listening. Highlight your comfort with different methods, radio, email, face-to-face. Can you convey information clearly, especially when things get critical?
RoleCatcher really emphasizes active listening, giving clear instructions and open communication with everyone, from operators to supervisors.
Spot on. They might ask, tell me about a time you had to communicate critical information during an emergency. How'd you make sure the message got through, was understood, acted upon? That's a story that shows you can handle the pressure.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. Question 8. How do you ensure that plant operations are optimized for efficiency and productivity? So it's not just keeping things running, it's making them run better.
Proactive mindset time. Have you used lean manufacturing techniques? Data analysis to find bottlenecks. Talk about your experience with process optimization. Show that passion for making things better.
RoleCatcher highlights the importance of keeping up with best practices, always learning, mentioning that commitment to continuous improvement, finding ways to refine those processes that can really make a difference.
It shows you're not just an operator, you're an innovator. You could even say something like, I believe in data-driven decisions. Analyzing those metrics, collaborating with the team, I'm always looking to streamline things, boost efficiency.
Back to safety for question 9. How do you ensure that all personnel in a chemical plant are trained in safety protocols and procedures? It's a recurring theme for a reason, right? Safety first.
Absolutely. It's about building that culture of safety. Describe your training approach. Hands-on, online modules. How do you assess individual needs? Tailor your instruction.
One candidate in RoleCatcher's Guide mentioned developing a whole program. Theoretical and practical components, refresher courses, assessments to make sure everyone's competent. A holistic approach to safety training.
That's strong. Now, they might ask, how would you handle an employee consistently breaking safety protocols? This is about leadership, enforcing standards while keeping a positive, safe environment.
Okay, last question. How do you ensure that environmental regulations are met in a chemical plant? Big one, as plants can have a significant impact.
They want to know you understand the regulations, that you're committed, and can anticipate potential issues. Talk about environmental audits, waste management programs, working with agencies to ensure sustainable operations.
RoleCatcher has a great sample answer. It focuses on those regular audits, waste management, working closely with those agencies. It shows you're not just meeting the bare minimum, you're aiming higher.
Exactly. A potential follow-up. Describe a situation where you had to prioritize environmental compliance over production goals. Your ethics, your values, that's what they're looking for.
Wow, we covered a lot of questions. I'm feeling more prepared already.
Me too. But it's not just about the interview, right? It's about understanding this career path. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide goes beyond just interview prep.
They really do give you the whole picture. Career progression, education levels, even the pros and cons of the job. Like a one-stop shop.
That pros and cons section is interesting. High earning potential, opportunities to move up. That's got to be attractive.
But they're honest about the demands. The odd hours, stressful situations, the huge responsibility that comes with handling hazardous materials. It's a reality check.
Finding the right fit is important. This role's not for everyone, but for those who thrive under pressure, who are passionate about safety, efficiency, good at problem solving, it can be incredibly rewarding.
And RoleCatcher even mentions the potential for international travel. That's cool.
Some roles might involve projects in other countries. Great for anyone who loves exploring new cultures.
Speaking of exploring, let's talk continuous learning. RoleCatcher really emphasizes that. Staying up to date seems crucial in this field.
Absolutely. The industry is always changing. New technologies, regulations, best practices. Got to be a lifelong learner.
They give some great tips for that. attending conferences, reading those industry publications, joining professional associations, even pursuing further education or certifications.
And don't forget RoleCatcher's AI. It can help you figure out where your skills need work, suggest courses or training, even connect you with opportunities, like a personal career coach.
It's amazing what technology can do now, giving you the power to shape your own career.
Definitely valuable. What about education levels? What does RoleCatcher say about that?
Fill us in. What's the typical path?
Well, the average highest level of education for this role, surprisingly, isn't a 4-year degree. It's usually vocational training or an associate's degree in something related, like process technology or chemical engineering technology.
Interesting. So a bachelor's might help, but it's not a deal breaker.
Right.
Experience and certifications probably matter more.
For sure. And that's where RoleCatcher's functions and core abilities section is useful. It tells you what employers are looking for, gives you a clear target.
Let's see, it mentions operations monitoring, operation control, active listening, critical thinking, monitoring, reading comprehension, quality control analysis. That's a lot.
It is, but it shows how many different skills are needed. Technical expertise, communication, critical thinking under pressure. It's not just being a technician, it's being a leader, a problem solver, a safety champion.
Now, I'm curious about that advancing your career section.
Yeah.
Where can this role take you?
Well, as we mentioned, you could move into supervisory or management roles, specialize in process optimization, safety management, or environmental compliance. Lots of options.
And RoleCatcher's AI can help you figure out which path is right for you, right? Map out a plan.
Exactly. It analyzes your skills, your experience, your interests, and then suggests career paths and the steps to get there. A personalized career strategist.
Love that. It's like a roadmap for your career journey.
Precisely. And RoleCatcher also has a career stages section, which outlines the typical responsibilities at different points in your career, so you know what to expect.
That's great. What do those different stages look like? Give us a sneak peek.
Sure. You start as an entry-level operator, focused on monitoring systems, reporting anything unusual, operating those control panels. As you gain experience, you move on to more complex tasks. Troubleshooting, collaborating with senior operators, even leading training sessions.
More autonomy, more responsibility as you climb the ladder.
Right. And eventually you can reach senior operator level, overseeing the whole operation, analyzing data for process improvement, managing incident reports, collaborating with managers and engineers on safety protocols.
It's amazing to see how the role evolves, and with RoleCatcher's AI, you can identify the skills needed at each stage to reach the next level, like a personal guide for your career.
It really is. Before we move on, let's recap what we've learned.
Good idea. It's been a lot of information.
We tackled those 10 interview questions from RoleCatcher's interview guide, gave strategies and examples for killer answers, talked about showcasing technical knowledge, problem solving, commitment to safety, and compliance.
And we dove into the career guide, learned about the pros and cons, career advancement, the importance of continuous learning. This industry never stands still.
And we talked about how RoleCatcher's AI can help you every step of the way, from that resume to practicing those answers to finding your next career move. It's pretty incredible. Seriously. They've packed so much value into these resources. Our listener is ready to ace that interview A&D, build a successful career. That's the best part.
Absolutely. They're ready to take control, start an exciting journey as a chemical plant control room operator. But hold on, we've got one more section to go over. The definition of the role and those alternative titles. Can't forget those.
All right, let's define things. What's the essence of a chemical plant control room operator, according to RoleCatcher?
They keep it nice and concise, emphasize the responsibility for remotely monitoring and inspecting those production systems, making sure everything runs smoothly, safely, efficiently, and they highlight using advanced control systems, troubleshooting, responding to incidents, communicating effectively.
Great summary of the core functions. Now, what about those alternative titles? It's like one job can have a dozen different names sometimes.
Exactly, and that can be confusing when you're job hunting. RoleCatcher lists a few alternatives. Process control operator, control room technician, production systems monitor, operations coordinator. Keep an eye out for those. So even if the title's not chemical plant control room operator, the actual work might be similar.
Yep. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in handy again. It can find jobs with similar skill requirements, even if the titles are different. It's like a secret weapon for your job search.
I love how they've thought of everything. And before we get to the grand finale, one more thing I wanted to mention. RoleCatcher has this awesome FAQ section. All those common questions about the role answered in one place.
Those FAQs are gold. If you want to dig deeper, they're perfect. covering everything from skills and education to safety and career growth, all those little things you might be wondering about.
It's so helpful, and their answers are clear and concise, which is great. You can get through a lot of info quickly.
It shows how dedicated they are to helping people navigate their careers.
Well, we've definitely explored a lot today, from that in-depth career guide to the interview guide and those awesome AI tools. RoleCatcher's given us a complete picture of what it means to be a chemical plant control room operator.
Couldn't agree more. Our listener is armed with knowledge and strategies to not just get through that interview, but to really make a career out of this.
And let's not forget about that constant learning. Got to stay ahead of the game in this industry.
You got it. The more you learn, the more successful and fulfilled you'll be.
All right, time for our final thoughts. What key takeaways should our listener remember as we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
The biggest one. The unique mix of skills you need to be successful. It's not just technical know-how. It's problem-solving, leadership, being a champion for safety and efficiency.
It's having that proactive attitude, always wanting to improve, and caring about the environment.
Exactly. And with all the resources RoleCatcher offers, our listener has everything they need to tackle those challenges and enjoy the rewards of this career path.
Well said. I think we've achieved what we set out to do in this second part. Our listener is ready to face that interview head-on and imagine a fulfilling future in the chemical industry.
Absolutely. Best of luck to our listener.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive, I keep thinking back to how RoleCatcher defined a chemical plant control room operator.
Yeah, it was so clear. They really nailed the responsibility of remotely monitoring and inspecting those systems, keeping everything running smoothly, safely, efficiently, and using those advanced control systems, troubleshooting, responding to incidents, communicating effectively with the team.
It's a lot to handle, but it shows how crucial this role is. Like we said, they're the central nervous system of the entire plant.
And all those alternative job titles: process control operator, control room technician, production systems monitor, operations coordinator. It just proves how much these skills are needed, no matter what they call the position.
Exactly. And with RoleCatcher's AI, you can match those skills to the right opportunities. It's like having a personal recruiter in your pocket.
Speaking of opportunities, RoleCatcher's career guide went beyond just getting the job. They mapped out the whole career journey.
Totally. From education and skills to career stages and advancement, they're not just helping you get in the door, they're helping you succeed long term.
It's not just a job, it's a career. And they even mentioned the possibility of international travel. That's pretty exciting.
Can you imagine? Troubleshooting a complex process in a plant on the other side of the world? That's a global perspective.
And something they really stressed: continuous learning. This field never stops evolving, so you can't either.
Right. They even gave tips on how to stay ahead of the curve. Attending conferences, reading industry publications, joining those professional associations. It's like a roadmap for career growth.
And with their AI platform, you can personalize that roadmap, find those skill gaps, get course suggestions, even connect with professional development opportunities. 24/7 career advice.
It's amazing how technology is changing the way we manage our careers.
Totally agree. Now, before we wrap up completely, it's time for our final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, yes. I love these. What have you got for us today?
All right, imagine this. You aced the interview, you got the job, you're responsible for safety, efficiency, everything running smoothly. But how would you go beyond just doing what's expected? How would you make a difference?
That's a great question. It's not just about being competent. It's about being proactive, thinking outside the box. What makes you stand out?
Exactly. Maybe you'd propose a new safety program based on the latest research. Maybe you'd find a way to improve a process, boost efficiency, reduce waste. Maybe you'd push for a sustainability initiative.
It's about taking ownership, leaving your mark, being a leader, a problem solver, someone who makes things better, not just in the plant, but maybe even in the whole industry.
And with all the knowledge you've gained from this deep dive, with the amazing resources from RoleCatcher, I know you'll make a real impact in this field. It's such a vital one.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks so much for being our expert today.
Always happy to chat about these important topics and help people prepare for success.
And to our listener, the future chemical plant control room operator, best of luck in your interview and your career. Remember, with the right preparation, a proactive attitude, and that commitment to always learning, you can achieve anything.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Go out there, make a difference. And always, always, safety first.
That's a wrap on another fantastic deep dive. See you next time.